So folks, day 15, Tenerife. What did we do yesterday? Well, it's a bit more of the same. As I told you, from time to time we can be creatures of habit. We only visited 2 joints yesterday and we've been them both already whilst we've been here. We started off in the Calypso bar, but bear in mind, it's only the second or third day out with my lad who came over on Tuesday. He'd never been there before, and we showed him an act that he'd never seen before because he's never been to that there Tenerife. Tell a lie, he has about 10 years ago with an ex-girlfriend, but he never came to this part of the island. We went to the Calypso bar and we watched comedy Elvis again. Weirdly, totally different show from a week ago. Well, other than say 10 minutes or 2 hours, totally different. Don't know how he manages to do it. So much material, it's unbelievable. I would actually suggest his show last week was better than this week's. Certainly better than the first hour was certainly better last week. This week he redeemed himself in the second hour, it was much better. Nothing wrong with the first hour, but just not his best. We're not always at our best, are we, folks? But it was grand, it was really good. Eye spots of the afternoon, well, my lad ended up being the star of the show, more of that later. Eye spots of the afternoon, about halfway through the show, or maybe a bit earlier than that, we noticed a few girls getting off a coach and going into the hotel next door. They looked like a hen party, and so it proved to be further down the line, but you just assumed they're going to be a British hen party. No, they were not. Within about 40 minutes, they've turned themselves around, they've got off the coach, freshened themselves up, and they're out there in the sashes and whatever else that they were in for the said hen party. And old Elvis is having a laugh at them. They're outside the perimeter wall. They're looking at his show. It's a packer, by the way. There's not a seat left. He says, "Come on in for a drink." Anyway, they start to walk along. They keep looking. Looks like they're walking away, and a brave one amongst them must have said, "Come on then, let's go in." Anyway, they all come in for a drink. Nowhere to sit. All stood up in the gangway there, and he says to the young lady that runs the place, "What about a shot for them all? Can we give them all a shot? It's been good of them coming in here." Anyway, they've got a bit of music on there. He's doing a bit of country road. He's doing the old country road, and they're all singing along with it, the girls. It turns out they're from Belgium, not English at all from Belgium. Only one of them spoke reasonable English, no great English amongst them, but they understood the song. They've got nowhere to sit, so they're dancing along with it, and all of a sudden they're like this to the audience to get up, and virtually every woman and man did. And everyone singing along and enjoying. I thought it was absolutely grand. It was a fantastic moment, probably one of the best moments I've ever had in Tenerife. The girls were good sports, the girls from Belgium, they're up dancing. They beckoned us to, and I thought it was only right. It was the right thing to do. Atmosphere fantastic. They put the old afternoon on another level. Lad star of the show, well, I'll tell you what it is. I mean, it would normally have been the youngest in there. It's an old crowd that goes in there. I'm getting on a bit, but I could give many of them a few years. I really could. It's certainly an old crowd in there. They like the old afternoon drinking and being entertained, as I do myself. Anyway, the lad comes in. It turns out Becky, one of the owners, has got a couple of nieces there. One young girl and one almost as young. Old comedy gets this young girl up and my lad dancing. My lad was worried to death. He's not the world's greatest dancer, and he was a bit embarrassed. Plus he was about that much taller than her, seemed a really nice girl. He's then accosted by another young lady, not quite as young as the girl he danced with. And then, as a woman leaving the place says, "Oh, you're a cracking young lad. You'd be great for my daughter." "All right. Where does your daughter live?" he says. She said, "Just outside Glasgow." He said, "I live in Warrington." "Doesn't matter," she said. This woman said, "She'd be great with you." So anyway, my lad ends up dancing with a 19-year-old. More than that. Then he's dancing with this slightly older girl I mentioned to you. This slightly older girl ends up being 62 years old. She jumps on him, he's got her in the air, he's holding her. She's got legs akimbo round his waist and he's holding her in the air. The 62-year-old, after the old afternoon has finished, the act has gone off, she goes to the 19-year-old and tries to get my lad the girl's phone number and ends up coming back with it. He never asked her to. I don't think he'd be interested, no disrespect, but I mean, he is 30, she's 19. I don't think he's so sure about it. And then, as I say, this woman leaving gives him the Facebook details of her daughter. Her daughter's 26. It's a bit near the mark. My lad's just turned 30. She works in for the government, I believe, in that there Glasgow. So anyway, he had a great day and it was star of the show, and he loved old comedy Elvis. Never seen out like him before. So the afternoon went with a bang. But there was no, you know what I mean. It went swimmingly. It went great. Then after that, we decided on the way back to the apartment we're going to eat early. We went to the old Embassy again. It probably is our favourite restaurant in the decking, possibly the old Tenerife, really. Absolutely lovely. He's a bit of a steak lover. He gets a steak, and he actually says on eating the meal that not only is the best meal I've had whilst I've been here, but that could be the best steak I've ever had in my life. And he said, I've had steaks 3 and even 4 times the cost of this one, in that they're Manchester and Liverpool in some of the better restaurants, because his company is a bit of a, he's not, but his company's a bit of a highbrow company, and they take the workers out on a regular basis. They wine and dine them and spend lots of money on them. He's not that way inclined, but his company bosses are. And he said, I've had some fantastic steaks, but I don't think I've ever had one that good. So, great day out by all. Now, as it turned out, not long after that, we came home. And you're not going to believe it, folks. We were in for about 9 o'clock, 9:30, not in our beds. We watched a bit of TV, bit of this, bit of that, bit of the other, but in for 9. It's a big difference than 1 or 2 in the morning, which it's been of late. I would imagine it'd be another 1 or 2 tonight. The difference being, we started at 2:30 yesterday. We'll start a lot later today, and that's why it'll be a 1 or 2 o'clock again. If I know the lad and her indoors, and myself for that matter. But we had a crackerjack of a day. Really good one. Really, really good. And I'm going to bore you folks, because on Saturday we're there again. We're back on the old Calypso Bar Saturday. More about that later. We're going to take him to another act he's not seen. Possibly, the best singer on the island. It's very, very close. That's how good this fella is. We're seeing him on Saturday. But I've got to leave early. Luckily, her indoors has got my son with her, so she won't mind it. Had it been just me and her, I wouldn't have left early. But because he's there, I feel I can do. As I say, more about that further down the line. Right, I'll leave it with you. I hope you're all well. I know parts of England there are underwater. I know it's bad. It's not so bad here. I'm recording early today. No, I'm not going to tell you what they're doing. Why should I tell you? I'll be telling you that tomorrow. Stealing my own script, aren't I? Right, see you later, folks. Hope you're well. I really do. And if you are underwater in England, I hope it abates. That's a word I never use. I hope it gets better quickly. I really, really do. And, you know, my heart goes out to you if you've got problems with your house there. If the water's coming, it must be absolutely awful. I hope it's not that bad in that there Warrington. Not got home yet. Don't know what our house is like. We're a bit more inland though. We get rained on all year round, but we don't tend to get floods. Not where I live anyway. Let's hope that's still the case.